W5FC. TechNet Saturday at 7 p.m. W5FC.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Good evening. The time is 9 p.m.
Does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin the 9 p.m. Skynet? This is KF5TDS. My name is Billy, and I'll be your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time by using the pro sign break and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? This is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from net control. That would be me. And stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmissions. This weekly net operates on 146.880 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using the W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live audio-video links are available online. Go to www.w5fc.org right now for the complete list. And remember to tell others about this popular net. You can now check into the net electronically by going to the club website, w5fc.org, look for tonight's announcement, and click on the hot link to check in. We will acknowledge you on the air, and don't worry, if you want to check in via voice, we will continue to do that too over air and Echolink. All amateur operators are welcome. You need not be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. The net is 90 minutes long and is structured in several parts. General announcements, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope, National Space Society events, recent astronomical discoveries, discussion topic of the evening, Was Up, space exploration and space history, Constellation of the week, space launches of the week, visible satellite passages over the next couple of days, astronomical Q&A, and our 73 round. All amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. We currently have the following people checked in via W5. We have KE5ICX, Tom in Corpus Christi, KF5JH.
KS5PDS 105BB. Did you want me to take check-ins this evening? Timed out. We'll have to wait till the repeater comes back.
I heard you, Bill. We just have to wait till she unkeys. N5SQA.
Back yet, Billy? This is N5BB.
I just saw Tom's message saying I'm going to have to drop carrier about every 20 seconds, so I'm sorry. Bill, if you didn't hear me, yes, I was turning the net over to you for check-ins. I checked in everybody on the air, on the spreadsheet. Let me go ahead and do that again. KE5ICX Tom in Corpus Christi, KF5JHA Chaz and Bob the Cat in Mesquite, myself, N5BB, Bill in Irving, K5MCD Cody in Dallas, KI5SDS Jeff in Richardson, NT5PM Tony in Dallas, WB5OZL Brenda in Dallas, and KE5JIT Randy in Corpus Christi. And Bill, if I'll go ahead and turn the net over to you for check-ins. So this is to you, N5BB from KF5PDS.
Very good, Billy. Yeah, you're coming through great on Echolink. It just, the timeout is set really short. Tony said he'll set the timeout longer, probably tomorrow. Okay, this is N5BB, alternate NCS. I want to remind everybody that if you go to w5fc.org, there's a link there for under Skynet on the main page. I think it's the second news item. And if you click that link, you can check in online. Or you can check in here, or you can check in on Echolink. All three modes will work. So let's go to RF check-ins. If you'd like to check in to Skynet via RF, and we haven't already read your call sign out for the online check-in, please come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. This is Skynet in 5BB, alternate net control.
This is old-timer, old-fashioned Alpha Golf 5 Papa Mike checking in the old-fashioned way, AG5 PM.
This is Kilo Golf 5, Uniform Foxtrot Romeo, Jacob and Farmers Branch.
This is Kilo Golf 5, Whiskey Victor Lima, James and Carrollton.
Net control, please check in Kilo Golf 4, Whiskey Delta Zulu, Jim and Richardson.
This is Alpha 5, Alpha Hotel, Robert Richardson.
I would like to acknowledge AG5PM. I recognize your voice and call sign. That was Rich in Rockwall. And KG5UFR, hello Jacob. KG5WVL, James. Jim in Richardson, do I have your call sign right? Is it Kilo Golf 4, Whiskey Delta Zulu? Is that correct, Jim?
Affirmative.
Okay, very good. Your signal's slightly noisy, so I didn't get that clearly. We got it now. And then I recognize Robert A5AH in Richardson. Do we have any other RF check-ins before I move ahead? This is N5BB, alternate net control for Skynet.
November 5 Sierra Quebec Alpha. Kilo Foxtrot 5 Zulu Bravo Lima Philippines French.
That's N5SQA. I recognize that is Ron in Dallas. And K5ZBL, Bill in Farmers Branch. One more try. Any more RF check-ins to Skynet? Please come now. Okay, looking at Echolink. We have, let's see, NT5TM. Tony, do you want to check in?
Thank you. I know she got me from the spreadsheet. I'm just standing by for announcements. NT5TM.
I'm sorry. I've got the spreadsheet in front of me. I forgot it. Thank you, Tony. Too many things to check here. Too many lists. Let's see. K5ICX is already checked in online. Billy, of course. Chaz online. Dale in 5LIG. Do you want to check in on voice here, Dale?
Good evening, everyone. This is N5LIG, Dale in Dallas. Thank you.
Good, Dale. Glad you're here. N5LIG via Echolink. Thank you, Dale. And let's see, who else is on here? Andy, KI5YLX. I don't see you on the spreadsheet. Would you like to check in on voice over Echolink, Andy?
This is Kilo India 5, Yankee Lima X-Ray, Andy in Carrollton, Texas.
Very good, Andy. KI5YLX. We got you through Echolink here. Let's see, who else is on the list? I'm there. K5JIT. He's already checked in online. K5KTX Kelly is checked in online. So I want to make sure I recognize also Antonio, AG9SG. Antonio checked in online, as well as Kelly and Randy. Okay, do we have anybody else, via any mode, that would like to check in that we haven't acknowledged so far? If you want to check in, please come with your call sign and your name and your location. This is N5BB Skynet.
Hello, Skynet. KJ5HMA, Todd in East Dallas. Hope everybody's having a great night.
Recognize Todd, KJ5HMA. Thank you, Todd. Do we have any other check-ins? That last signal was way too weak. All we got was noise. Can you improve your location or power? If not, then you're going to have to try Echolink. The last station, please try again for Skynet. This is N5BB, alternate net control.
Dallas?
Okay, all we got was Dallas. Please come again with your call sign phonetically and your name.
Alpha Bravo
Delta Mike, Dustin, Dallas.
Alpha Bravo 5 Delta Mike. Was that Justin with a J? Can't hear. Maybe was it Dustin with a D as in Delta? Okay, you're all in noise now. I'm going to assume it was Dustin, but very good in Dallas. AB5DM. You sound like you're using a handy-talkie, and when you're good, you're good. When you're bad, we can't hear you as you move the antenna around. Okay, very good. Do we have any other check-ins via any mode to Skynet? This is N5BB, alternate net control.
This is Kilo, Oscar 4, Whiskey, Charlie, X-Ray, KO4WCX, Paul in North Carolina.
Yeah. Okay, hold, we had a double. Paul, I think you must be coming in via All-Star. Give me your call again. Is it Kilo Oscar 4 Whiskey something? Go ahead, Paul.
Yes, it's Kilo, Oscar 4, Whiskey, Charlie, X-Ray. And I am coming in through All-Star, yes.
Very good. I recognize KO4WCX Paul in North Carolina. Just a quick question, Paul. Is the hurricane flooded you out in your area?
Actually, no, we were spared. We were on the far eastern side of the state. Almost all of the damage was localized to the mountains farther to the west, probably 8 or 9 hours drive time to our west. We were very, 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 very fortunately spared because there was quite a bit of damage out on the other side of our state.
Very good, Paul. Glad you're okay. And I want to remind everybody that when there's severe storms like the hurricane that just came through, Helene, amateur radio operators are the only people that can communicate. There are a lot of people without power and without communications, cell phones, landlines, etc. in a big area. Very good. One last try. Do we have any other check-ins via any mode? If so, I'll wait a long time for All-Star. Please come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. This is Skynet, N5BB. I heard somebody trying to talk, but no communication. You're too weak. Try moving to a better location or increasing power. Try again. I'll give it one more try.
Node 4, 8, 9,
Kilo, Juliet, 5, Hotel. Good. That's quite a few stations. Billy, I'll turn it back over to you. I've got everybody checked in so far, and it's a pretty big list, including what checked in online. KF5PDS, back to you for net control duties. This is N5BB, alternate net control.
Great. Thank you very much, Bill. Yeah, that was a great check-in round. Welcome to all who have checked into Skynet. All right, let's get started with general announcements. Do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? These can be ham, astronomical, space, or of general interest to licensed hams. If you have a general announcement, please come now with your call sign.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike.
November 5, Bravo, Bravo.
Bill, I'll let you go ahead with your announcement. And Tony, I saw you over on the chat. I did not hear your audio, but we'll give it a try after Bill gives his announcement. So, Bill, the net is yours for announcements, and by DD from KFI PDS.
Okay, first, real quickly, Tony, I don't know if you realize this, but when you're transmitting an RF, you're wiping out the echo link. We can't hear you on the echo link when you're transmitting on RF. You're overloading the echo link receiver. It was the same way last week. And Tony says the problem will go away in a week or two. Great. Okay, so my news announcement. This is amateur radio related, not specifically amateur radio. This is about something about the sun, which is astronomy related. The American Solar Energy Society every year in October has the National Solar Tour. It's always the first weekend in October. Most of the activity is on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So this year, that'll be October 4th, 5th, and 6th, this coming weekend. On the National Solar Tour, people put houses and a few commercial buildings up on the national tour map, inviting people to come over to their location and see how solar panels work, battery backup systems, EV chargers, heat pump, HVAC systems, all the kind of things you'd expect for low-energy buildings that can operate without having to use a lot of grid power. It turns out in Texas, the only houses on the solar tour this year are 3 in the Waco area and 2 in North Texas. One of the 2 in North Texas is the Paul Westbrook House, which is between Allen and McKinney. And the other one is my house in Irving, in 5BB, the Byram House. And so I'm going to talk about my location. I had it on the tour last year, and a couple of hams came back by, and it's on the tour this year. So you're welcome to come over and see the house on Friday, October the 4th, it's coming Friday, from 2 to 7 p.m., and on Sunday, October the 6th, from noon to 5 p.m. So that's Friday afternoon, 2 to 7, Sunday afternoon, noon to 5. This is this next weekend, October 4th and 6th. Next Saturday, October the 5th, there'll be a private event. It's the North Texas Renewable Energy Group. We're the local kind of chapter of the Texas Solar Energy Society. And if you want to come to it, we want you to be a member of that group. You're welcome to join it because we have catered food. So if you're interested in all this, there's a very simple website I've got with some links. The website is tour.byram.net. So this is the solar tour. So the website is TOUR, Tango Oscar Uniform Romeo, .Byram, that's spelled Bravo Yankee Romeo Oscar Mike .net. That's tour.byram.net. That's a web address. And you'll find 3 links there. The top
Bill. Tony, N25PM has announcements. Were you going to try to give those over RF, Tony? Or do you want me to go ahead and read the ones that are in the script? Just let me know in the chat what you would like to do at KFI PDF. Got it. Roger that. I will read the announcements. So tonight's Afterglow movie discussion will cover Roger Corman's 1960s sci-fi odyssey, Last Woman on Earth from 1960. Tomorrow is a fifth Sunday, so there will be no MODA or Races training net. Enjoy the fine weather and make some contacts on the air. This Monday will be distinguished by a surprise net, but no surprise has yet been planned. Please contact Tony, N25TM at W5FC.org if you have a surprising idea. The AMSAT Radio Amateur Satellite Group has 3 nets available to Dallas residents on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central Time. You can check into the National AMSAT net, learn all about amateur satellites and how you can use them in amateur radio. The National AMSAT net will bring the most up-to-date information on amateur satellites currently in use or new ones coming online. The Echolink installed and you registered. You can also find the net under Groups and AMSAT. Also, a live audio link is available on their website at www.amsatnet.com. This net originates in Houston, Texas. 2 local nets are available in Dallas. Both of these nets encourage active check-ins. You can ask questions of the net control as well as others checked in. AMSAT Net East, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas is every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on this repeater, 146.880 megahertz, with a PL tone of 110.9. COM N5HYP is the net control. All are welcome to check in, and that's on Tuesdays. First Tuesday of the month is the DARC Club Night, so there's no AMSAT East on that night. AMSAT West is every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on the Arlington repeater, and that is 147.140 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9 and a positive offset. The DARC hosts a number of nets on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. Check the W5FC.org website. This coming Monday, as we said, would be a surprise net. The hosted nets, Mondays at 7. The first week is Ham Fixin's net. It's a cooking net. This Monday is Ham Fixin's net. Let's see if you bring your new recipes, cooking tips, or techniques. Second week is MCOM 101, Emergency Communications. Learn about emergency communications here in Dallas from served agencies. Third week is the second helping of Ham Fixin's net. Bring your favorite or new recipes, cooking tips, or techniques. Fourth week is GeekNet, Geek Beyond Ham Radio. This Monday, on that Monday, you'll geek out beyond ham radio. And as we said, this Monday is this week's surprise net. If we told you what it was, it wouldn't be a surprise. On-air participation is encouraged. Sometimes we even offer a real prize. Otherwise, show your fellow hams your technical, social, and pop culture knowledge and creativity. Tony N25PM is net control. And on Fridays is Third City Simulation at 8 p.m. Learn about emergency radio communications via CERT-trained amateur radio operators. Melissa KI5GRH is usually the net control. Visit the most disaster-prone city in the universe every Friday. CERT City, all are welcome. Saturdays are the Night of Nets, where we keep the airwaves buzzing until midnight. Here's the lineup. TechNet is from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Q&A on all things ham radio related. There's also a swap meet, Rookie's Corner, news and information, and ham radio events and contests, alternating net control each week. Skynet from 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Astronomy, space, and space exploration are the topics. Also news and information, satellite passes, and the Constellation of the Week. Join this popular net about Ham's second most favorite hobby, astronomy, alternating net controls. Afterglow Movie Net from 10:30 to midnight. Will it be a hit or a dreaded miss? Thumbs up or thumbs down, you make the call. We watch an assigned science fiction movie and then review it for about 90 minutes. We discuss plot, characterization, special effects, music, and answer the question, will I dare watch this movie ever again? Everyone is welcome to check in, even if you haven't seen the movie, which might actually be a plus. The third Sundays is Dallas Amateur Radio Club meeting on the air. What's going on in your ham world? Tell us. Also learn about the club that maintains this popular repeater, the Dallas Amateur Radio Club. Club news and information, events, activities, including club meetings, lecture and lab, public service events, contests, and just general discussion. Everyone can check into this net. And daily is the ARRL Net National Traffic System Training Net every night at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Learn how traffic is handled on this formal training net. Newbies are welcome to check in as this is a training net. Conducts an evening net on the Irving WACKF repeater 146.72 megahertz at 9:30 p.m. All are welcome to check in on any or all of these nets. You can keep up with all of the DARC net events and activities by going to the club website, w5fc.org. All right, let's go ahead and see if we have some additional check-ins. So at this time, I'll return the net to Bill N5BB before we turn it over to Texas Astronomical Society. So if you'll check and see if we have any more check-ins, we'll look at the list. I see we've got KF5TLL, Huey and Richardson. Welcome, Huey. Bill, if you'll check and see if we've got any more check-ins over RF and any other modes, please, from KF5PDS.
Very good, Billy. This is N5BB. I also like to recognize Clay, N5OF in the Skeet. I don't think I recognized him earlier. Okay, we got Clay and Huey. Okay, do we have any other, I don't see anybody else on Echolink. Do we have any other check-ins on any modes? If so, please come now with your name, your call sign, and your location. This is Skynet, N5BB. This is
Whiskey Bravo 4 Mike Foxtrot India WB4MFI Ted Dallas Low Power.
Kilo 0 Foxtrot Echo Romeo, Chris, Southeast Dallas.
This is Kilo Golf 5 Echo India Uniform, David, St. Paul, Texas.
I recognize WB4MFI, Ted, K0FER, Chris, and KG5EIU, David. Do we have any other check-ins to Skynet? If so, please come down. Heard, Billy. I think we're caught up now. KF5PDS. This is N5BB. Back to net control.
Bill, this is KF5TDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, next up is Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope. At this time, I'll turn the net over to Chaz, KF5JHA. The net is yours from KF5TDS.
Thank you, Billy. Good evening, everyone. This is KF5JHA. My name is Chaz. The last Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting was last night. The meeting was held at 7:30 p.m. at the University of Texas at Dallas. It was held also on Zoom. The featured speaker was the junior task members. They talked about asteroids, occultations, and T Corona Borealis, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. Saturday night public observing sessions continue. Skynet was picked to be on Saturday night so there could be an opportunity for live reports from the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas public observing sessions. Now, on the fourth Saturday of the month, the stargazing used to be held in Rockwall, but due to lack of attendance, it's been canceled permanently. So check the TASS website at texasastro.org for up-to-date information and details about meetings and public observing sessions. This is KF5JJ, backdoor net control. Billy, it's yours.
Chaz. All right, next up is National Space Society events and activities. At this time, I will return the net to Bill and my BD, as he'll give us some updates on the National Space Society from KFI-TDS.
Very good. Thank you, Billy. This is N5BB. I happen to be the membership director, and starting this coming week on October the 1st, I'll be the vice president of the North Texas chapter of the National Space Society. The National Space Society is a nonprofit group based in the U.S. with membership around the world, which is interested in the exploration and development of space and the creation of a spacefaring civilization. The National Space Society has a yearly big meeting called the International Space Development Conference. In 2024, it was in late May, and in 2025, it will be in June. This year, it was in Los Angeles. Next year, it will be in Orlando, Florida. The local chapter, the North Texas chapter of the National Space Society, meets at 3:30 p.m. on the second Sunday afternoon of each month. Meeting location is Spring Creek Barbecue on the southwest corner of Highway 183 and Beltline Road in Irving, across from the highway from Irving Mall. On the last Friday evening of each month, from 6 to 8 p.m., the National Space Society North Texas chapter sponsors a social event called Space Rendezvous. The location is Cheddar's Restaurant, 700 West 635 in Irving. This is about half a block east of MacArthur Boulevard on the south frontage road of Highway 635 in North Irving. Anyone is welcome to attend and discuss human activities in space with us. No membership in any group is required. Our Space Rendezvous event for September was last evening in Irving. We had 10 attendees, really good attendance. Had to get a big table. One of the attendees was our most recent member. He, in the past, in the 90s, worked for Boeing. He worked for Boeing both in Wichita, Kansas, and in St. Louis. And he was involved with, he's a mechanical engineer and helped to design and build the International Space Station main structure, the main honeycomb structure. So it was really fun talking to him about the ISS because he was involved in building it. So there's lots of interesting things for people who attend our Space Rendezvous event. The October meeting of the North Texas section of National Space Society will be held on Sunday afternoon, October the 13th. This is in about 2 weeks at Spring Creek Barbecue in Irving. I believe the topic will be robots and rovers. This, of course, is spacefaring robots and rovers that go to other planets and other asteroids and other bodies. It'll be by Cynthia in 5TFB and Dietrich JI5L with mod.
Bill. All right, next up is recent astronomical discoveries. So at this time, I'll turn the net over to Brenda, WB5OZL. The net is yours from KF5TDS.
It says Brenda's having Echolink trouble. So she's fallen off of Echolink. Tom says he might be able to read it or have me read it. What do you want me to do, Billy? Do you want me to read it?
Sure, yeah. If Tom can't read it, Bill, you're welcome to. I was actually pulling the article up, but you jumped in. So, Tom, if you're able to, go for it. If not, Bill, monitor and jump in if Tom's not able to be audible. So let's let Tom try first, and then if that doesn't work, Bill, if you would please jump in from KF5TDS.
And this is KE5ICX down in Corpus Christi. We're going to try the All-Star link. I'm going to drop carrier occasionally since there is a timeout also on this system. Brenda's article is ESO telescope captures the most detailed infrared map ever of our Milky Way. Astronomers have published a gigantic infrared map of the Milky Way containing more than 1.5 billion objects, the most detailed one ever made. Using the European Southern Observatory's VISTA telescope, the team monitored the central regions of our galaxy over more than 13 years at 500 terabytes of data. This is the largest observational project ever carried out with an ESO telescope. We made many discoveries, and we've changed the view of our galaxy forever, says Dante Miniti, a astrophysicist at Universidad Andrés Bello in Chile, who led the overall project. This record-breaking map, composed of 200,000 images taken by ESO's VISTA, the Visible and Infrared Survey Telescope for Astronomy, located at ESO's Perinatal Observatory in Chile. The telescope's main purpose is to map large areas of the sky. The team used VISTA's infrared camera, VIRCAM, which can peer through the dust and gas that permeates our galaxy. It is therefore able to see the radiation from the Milky Way's most hidden places, opening a unique window onto our galactic surroundings. The gigantic data set covers an area of the sky equivalent to 8,600, full moons, and contains about 10 times more objects than the previous map released by the same team back in 2012. It includes newborn stars, which are often embedded in dusty cocoons and globular clusters, dense groups of millions of the oldest stars in the Milky Way. Observing infrared light means VISTA can spot very cold objects which glow at these wavelengths like brown dwarfs, failed stars that have not sustained nuclear fusion, or free-floating planets that don't orbit a star. The observations began in 2010 and ended in the first half of 2023, spanning a total of 420 nights. By observing each patch of the sky many times, the team was able to not only determine the locations of these objects, but also track how they move and whether their brightness changes. They charted the stars whose luminosity changes periodically that can be used as cosmic rulers for measuring distances. This has given us an accurate 3D view of the inner regions of the Milky Way, which were previously hidden by dust. The researchers also tracked hypervelocity stars. These are fast-moving stars catapulted from the central region of the Milky Way after a close encounter with a supermassive black hole lurking there. The new map contains data gathered as part of VISTA's variables in the Via Lactea, or VVV, survey, and in companion project, the VVV Extended, or VVVX, survey. The project was a monumental effort made possible because we were surrounded by a great team, says Roberto Saito, an astrophysicist of the university, I'm not going to say that, and led the author of the paper published today, I guess, Astronomy and Astrophysics, at a completion of the project. The VVV and the VVVX surveys have already led to more than 300 scientific articles. With the surveys now complete, the scientific exploration of the gathered data will continue for decades to come. Meanwhile, ESO's Perennial Observatory is being prepared for the future. VISTA will be updated with its new instrument called Foremost, and ESO's Very Large Telescope, or VLT, will receive its Moons instrument. Together, they will provide a spectra, millions of objects surveyed here, with countless discoveries to be as expected. And that's it. This article is from... Actually, this one came from ESO.org, but it was actually from Scientific Daily, or Science Daily. You can go to either site, ESO.org or ScienceDaily.org, for this edition, for the information and pictures of this new infrared map. Back to you, Billy, KE5ICX.
Yes, this is KFI-CDS Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, next up is discussion topic of the evening. For tonight's discussion topic, I chose Lunar Trailblazer. So from 2008 to 2010, a series of discoveries led to a surprising conclusion. There is water on the moon. Water and other volatile elements were detected in lunar volcanic glasses, suggesting hydration of the mantle. Infrared spectrometers observed OH2O on the sunlit side of the moon. The L-Cross impactor confirms the presence of water ice in the permanently shadowed regions of the moon. These findings now demand integration for understanding the history and evolution of volatiles on the moon and throughout the inner solar system. Sources of lunar water may include internal mantle water present at formation and released by subsurface geologic processes, external water delivered asteroids and comets over lunar history, and in situ, created on the surface by interactions with solar wind plasma. Trailblazer places advanced infrared sensors in orbit for spatial and temporal characterization of water and cold traps. Our knowledge of the lunar water cycle is in its infancy, and Trailblazer remote sensing is the next step to resolve current questions about the character and origin of water in the Earth-Moon system and characterize resources for future landed exploration. Lunar Trailblazer responds to some of the major questions raised in the National Academy's decadal surveys for planetary science from 2014 to 2023 and 2023 to 2032, including how many volatiles distributed and transported on the moon, and what are the inventories and origin of water on airless bodies. Lunar Trailblazer also blazes a trail for human future exploration by evaluating where are there operationally useful deposits of water, and what are the composition and thermophysical properties of the surface of future landing sites. As a small, cost-constrained mission, Lunar Trailblazer is optimized to one focused science goal. The goal of Lunar Trailblazer is to understand the form, abundance, and distribution of water on the moon and the lunar water cycle. Objective 1 is to determine the form, abundance, and distribution of H2O and OH in sunlit terrain. Objective 2 is to assess time variability of lunar volatiles. And Objective 3 is to determine the form and abundance of ice bound to H2O and OH in permanently shadowed regions, or PSRs. Objective 4 is to understand how localized gradients in albedo and surface temperature affect ice and OH H2O concentration. There will also be some bonus science that we'll get from this mission as exploration of zone reconnaissance for landed missions and mapping crust lithologic composition. The mission team is Principal Investigator Bethany Ale, Deputy Principal Investigator Rachel Klima, Project Manager Kalina Sabold, and then several collaborators and co-investigators, which are a little bit long to list here in tonight's net, but you can go to trailblazer.caltech.edu to see the full team list. So some summary information from Wikipedia. The spacecraft for Lunar Trailblazer is a small satellite manufactured by Lockheed Martin that has a launch mass of 200 kilograms. Its planned launch date is January 2025 aboard Falcon 9 Block 5 rockets from Kennedy Lunar Complex 39A, and the contractor is SpaceX. Lunar Trailblazer will orbit the moon in a 100-kilometer polar orbit, and it will study water on the moon using its two scientific instruments. There are two scientific instruments on the Lunar Trailblazer satellite totaling 20 kilograms. The high-resolution volatiles and minerals moon mapper, or HDM3, will gather and map shortwave infrared spectral data of the lunar surface. Simultaneously, Lunar Thermal Mapper, or LTM, will acquire midwave infrared data. Together, the two instruments will create a simultaneous map of the surface mineral composition, temperature, and forms of lunar water, each measuring at least 1,000 targets on the lunar surface over the course of the satellite's one-year primary mission. So there's some information about Lunar Trailblazer, and again, you can go to Caltech at trailblazer.caltech.edu to see some other news and to see the gallery of pictures that they have posted on the website. All right, so there's some information about Lunar Trailblazer. Does anyone have any questions or comments for tonight's presentation? If so, please come down with your call sign. Hearing any or seeing any over in the chat. So at this time, I'll turn the net over. We'll move over to What's Up. So I'll turn the net over to Chaz, KF5JHA, if you'll let us know what's up from KF5TDS.
Thank you, Billy. Good evening, everyone. This is KF5JHA. We call this segment of Skynet What's Up. It's all about what's going on astronomically over the next couple of weeks and beyond. Slide Master, if we're doing the video version of Skynet, that would be slide number 2. Slide number 3 is, today on September the 28th, I was able to take this picture of the sun using the provided solar filter that came with the ZWO C-Star. The large sunspot complexes on the sun sometimes are so large that you can see them with just your solar eclipse glasses. The sun is near its 11-year solar maximum. We've talked about the solar cycle in past Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 4, please. We've talked about the prediction of the nova of the star T Corona Borealis, which may erupt any time over the next month or two. It should have already happened, according to some predictions. It is currently at a brightness of around 10th magnitude, which is much too faint to be seen with just your 2 eyes. But when it goes nova, T Corona Borealis could become as bright as the North Star. I actually can see the North Star with just my 2 eyes from my very light-polluted location in Mesquite. Slide Master, slide number 5, please. Now, there's a comet in the early morning eastern sky during twilight that could be seen with just binoculars. See 2023 A3 T Atlas will only be in the morning sky for another couple of mornings. Then it'll be too close to the sun to observe. Then around October the 9th, you might be able to start catching it, well, a glimpse of it anyway, in the western evening sky. By October the 12th, it should be an easy target to see maybe with just your 2 eyes. The picture that you're seeing on the video version of Skynet is the picture of the comet that I took yesterday morning. It's kind of cool to see. Slide Master, slide number 6. On September 17th, the moon was full, and there is a partial eclipse, lunar eclipse. We talked about that. Let me see. So the current phase of the moon is actually a waning crescent. On September the on October the 2nd, the moon is new. On October the 2nd, the moon is at apogee, which is a point in the moon's orbit that is furthest from the Earth at a distance of 406,516 kilometers. On October the 10th, when the moon is at first quarter phase, on October the 16th, the moon will be at perigee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is closest to the Earth at a distance of 357,175 kilometers. Slide Master, slide number 10. On September the 29th, the moon and Regulus are in conjunction in the eastern morning sky. Slide Master, slide number 8. On September the 30th, the moon and the minor planet Vesta are in conjunction in the eastern morning sky. You'll need to have at least a pair of binoculars in order to observe Vesta. Slide Master, slide number 9. On the night of October the 4th and 5th is the peak of the camelopardalis meteor shower, when you can see maybe half a dozen meteors in an hour. The best time to observe meteors is usually the hour before dawn, because that's the side of the Earth that's running into the debris. Now, if you want more information about meteors and meteor shower, you can visit the International Meteor Organization, IMO.net, or the American Meteor Society, AMSmeteors.org. Slide Master, slide number 10. On October the 5th, the Moon and Venus are in conjunction in the southwestern evening sky. I was able to see Venus before the clouds came in earlier this evening. Slide Master, slide number 11.
Good evening. The time is 10
On the evening of October the 7th, the bright star Antares and the Moon are in conjunction in the southwestern evening sky. And Slide Master, slide number 12. On the night of October the 7th and 8th, the peak of the Draconid meteor shower could produce between half a dozen meteors up to maybe 1,000 meteors per hour. Now, what will it be this year? Well, you need to go out and take a look at it. Once again, IMO.net and AMSmeteors.org will give you up-to-date information about meteors and meteor shower. And this is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 13. Now, do any of you out there in Radio Land have any questions or need a fill on any of the information? Or maybe you just have a general astronomy question. Come now with your call sign if you have a question or need a fill. Nothing. Slide Master, slide number 14. Says the moon wanes, says these words of this segment of Skynet. Stay safe, keep well, pray for our world. It's the only one where humans live right now. And until next time, actually, I'll be doing another segment on Skynet in a few minutes. Keep looking up so you know what's up. And this is KF5JHA, back to our net control. That would be Billy, KF5EDS.
Thank you, Chaz. Yes, this is KFI-TDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Our next step is space exploration and space history. Normally this would be Brenda. I understand she's having some echo-like difficulties. Tom, would you be able to read this section? KE5ICX from KFI-TDS.
Yeah, I think I can go ahead and read it for you. Let me go ahead and get started. So this is from Space Exploration News. NASA's Chandra finds galaxy cluster that crosses the streams. Astronomers using have NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory found a galaxy cluster that's two streams of superheated gas crossing one another. This result shows that crossing the streams may lead to a creation of a new structure. Researchers have discovered an enormous comet-like tail of hot gas spanning over 1.6 million light-years long, trailing behind a galaxy within the galaxy cluster called Zwicky 8338, or Z8338 for short. This tail, spawned as a galaxy, has some of its gas stripped off by a hot gas that is hurtling through and has split into two streams. This is the second pair of tails trailing behind the galaxy in the system. Previously, astronomers discovered a shorter pair of trails from a different galaxy near this latest one. This newer and longer set of trails was only seen because of a deeper observation of the Chandra that revealed the fainter X-rays. Astronomers now have evidence that these streams trailing behind the speeding galaxies have crossed one another. Z8338 is a chaotic landscape of galaxies, superheated gas, and shock waves akin to sonic booms created by supersonic jets in one relatively small region of space. These galaxies are in motion because they are part of the two galaxy clusters that collided with each other to create Z8338. And now on to NASA's Europa Clipper, which is on track for an October 10th launch to Jupiter's icy moon despite radiation worries. 3 weeks from now, NASA's Europa Clipper probe will lift off and embark on a long-awaited mission to study Jupiter's icy moon Europa, which scientists think is one of the most promising places to look for life beyond Earth. The launch appears to be still on track for October 10th as per the agency's original schedule, which comes as a relief to scientists after the team discovered a few possibly defective transistors just months prior that threatened to imperil the mission. Any signs of life on Europa will likely be hidden in the vast, sunless ocean that scientists suspect sloshes beneath the moon's icy crust, which is roughly 10 miles thick. The $5 billion Europa Clipper will not be searching for life itself, however. Rather, scientists will seek to determine whether Europa has the necessary conditions for life, as we know it at least. There's very strong evidence that the ingredients for life exist on Europa, but we have to go there to find out. Bonnie Baretti, who is the deputy project scientist for Europa Clipper mission, told reporters during a press briefing on Tuesday, September 17th. We're looking for chemicals on the surface, organic chemicals that are precursors to life. Once at Jupiter, Europa Clipper will not land on its target moon, but instead will study it during its 49 flybys, searching for habitable environment where life could thrive. It's the first mission to investigate the habitability of an ocean world. Next up, NASA's Artemis science instruments gets tested in a moon-like sandbox. On September 9th and 10th, scientists and engineers tested NASA's LEMS, that's Lunar Environment Monitoring Station, instrument suite in a sandbox of simulated moon regolith at the Florida Space Institute's Exolith Lab at the University of Central Florida in Orlando. Lunar regolith is a dusty soil-like material that coats the moon's surface, and researchers wanted to observe how the material would interact with LEMS hardware, which is being developed to fly to the moon with Artemis 3 astronauts in late 2026. Designed and built at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland, LEMS is one of 3 scientific payloads chosen for development for Artemis 3, which will be the first mission to land astronauts on the lunar surface since 1972. The LEMS instrument package can operate both day and night. It will carry 2 University of Arizona-built seismometers to the surface to perform long-term monitoring for moonquakes and meteorite impacts. Next up are space-related birthdays. We have Robert Satcher. He was born on September 22nd, 1965, and he flew on STS-29. Next, we have William McCool, born September 23rd, 1961. He was on STS-107. Loren Shriver, born on September 23rd, 1944. He was on STS-51C, 31, and 46. Next, one of my favorite astronauts, John Young, was born September 24th, 1930. He flew Gemini 3, Gemini 10, Apollo 10, Apollo 16, STS-1, and STS-9. Next is Nick Hague. He was born on September 24th, 1975. He flew Soyuz MS-10, which was aborted. I think that was the one then during the separation, and they had to come back to Earth on their ascent to orbit. Soyuz MS-12, that was Expedition 5960. SpaceX Crew 9 for Expedition 72. I had a picture, but I didn't put the hot link in. Oh, well. Next up is Clifton Williams. He was born September 26, 1932, had no flights, but had died in a plane crash. Next up is Stephanie Williams. She was born on September 27, 1966. She flew STS-121, 120, and 131. Finally, this week in history, on September 25th, 1973, the Skylab 3 crew lands. This is also SL-3 to SLM-2, was the second crewed mission to America's first space station, Skylab. The mission began on July 28, 1973, with the launch of NASA astronauts Alan Bean, Owen Garriott, and Jack Lozma in the Apollo Command and Service Module on a Saturn 1B rocket, and lasted 59 days, 11 hours, and 9 minutes. A total of 1,084.7 astronaut utilization hours were tallied by the Skylab 3 crew, performing scientific experiments in the areas of medical archives, solar observations, Earth resources, and other experiments. Next up is the DART mission, which successfully collided with Dimorphos on September 26, 2022, with about 11 million kilometers lunar distance, or 6.8 million miles from Earth. The collision shortened Dimorphos' orbit by 32 minutes, greatly in excess of the predefined success threshold of 73 seconds. DART's success in deflecting Dimorphos was due to the momentum transfer associated with the recoil of the ejected debris, which was substantially larger than what was caused by the impact. Then on September 27, 1997, NASA's Mars Pathfinder mission beamed its very last data transmission back to Earth. Pathfinder mission consisted of a base station with the very first Mars orbiter named Sojourner. Pathfinder was 3 months into what was supposed to be just a 1-month mission when the base station's battery began to fail. NASA struggled to reestablish contact with Pathfinder for another 5 months before giving up and calling the mission complete. And that's it from here. Back to you, Billy. This is KE5ICX.
Thank you, Tom. And today, I don't know if anybody caught it, but the Crew 9 mission launched to take a reduced crew of 2 astronauts to the International Space Station in order to bring home the passengers from the Starship that have been on ISS for a while now. So that crew was originally supposed to have 4 on it, but they reduced it to 2 so they could bring those astronauts back home. So I don't know if anybody else saw it. Launch. All right, before we move on to the Constellation of the Week, I'd like to turn the net back over to Bill and 5BB if you could do a quick check-in round. I don't see anybody new on the spreadsheet, but if you would just do a quick check-in on other modes, and then you have my permission to turn the net over to Chaz following the check-in round. So this is to N5BB from KF5PDS.
Very good. By the way, it wasn't the Starship, it was a Starliner. That's the Boeing Starliner. Okay, very good. This is N5BB. Do we have any other check-ins to Echolink? If so, please come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. Like Brenda's been able to get back into Echolink, and well, look at the form. I don't see any additional people on the form, so I guess that's it. Back to you, Billy. No additional check-ins in 5BB.
to get my go through this straight here. So Starliner. Next up is Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week. So at this time I'll turn the net over to Chaz, KF5JK. The net is yours from KF5TVS.
Thank you, Billy. Good evening once again, everyone. Slide Master, slide number 15. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week is named in honor of Silent Key, Carolyn KC50ZT. Carolyn contributed to Skynet each week almost from its beginning in 2012 until May of 2019, with a detailed look at one particular constellation each week. Since there are about 52 easily visible constellations seen over North Texas throughout the year out of the 88 total number of constellations, so Miss Carolyn covered the entire sky as seen over North Texas in a year. And in her honor, we've continued that tradition of a constellation per week and named this segment after her. Miss Carolyn's constellation of the week this week is Microscopium, the microscope. And this is KF5JJ and this is Skynet. Microscopium represents a microscope and is not associated with any myths or legends. Microscopium is the 66th constellation in size, and it has no Messier objects. It does not contain any named stars either. Slide Master, slide number 16, a very important part of Skynet, the jokes of the week. Sorry, you've got to either moan or laugh or applaud or something, have to respond somehow to these things. I was trying to come up with a joke about my microscope. Then I realized I had a bad objective. Well, that was funny, wasn't it? Why did the germs cross the microscope? Well, to get to the other slide, of course. I looked at a penny under a microscope, and then I said, magnificent. Well, that was marginal, I suppose. I highly respect microscopes. They teach us to enjoy the little things in life. What do you call a mouthwash for tiny scientists? That would be a microscope, wouldn't it? A scientist called customer support of his microscope company and complained that the light bulb was broken. Customer support responded that they would look into it. And this is KF5JJ and this is Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 17. Theta Microscopium is a third brightest star in the constellation and consists of a wide double star, Theta 1 and Theta 2. It can be both seen without binoculars in ideal conditions. Both components belong to the spectral class A and are white magnetic spectrum variables that have strong metallic lines. Alpha Microscopium is the fourth brightest star in the constellation. Yep, usually the alpha designates the brightest star, but in this case it's not. It's a variable star with an apparent magnitude that ranges from 4.88 to 4.94. The star is approximately 380 light years from the Earth. It's a spectral class G73 yellow giant star in a double star system. The visual companion is an apparent magnitude of 10 with a separation of 20.4 arc seconds and can be seen in small telescopes. LaSalle 8760, it's also called an AX Microscopium, is one of the nearest stars to the Sun. It's only 12.87 light years distance and has a stellar classification of M0BE and has an apparent magnitude of 6.67, too faint to be seen without binoculars. It's also a variable star classified as a flare star that erupts less than once a day on average. It has a mass of about 60% of that of the Sun and is one of the largest of the brightest red dwarf stars known. Slide Master, slide number 18. Two deep sky objects, NGC, which stands for New General Catalog 6925, is a barred spiral galaxy. Has an apparent magnitude of 11.3. That's kind of faint. The galaxy is a lens shape and appears almost edge-on when seen from the Earth. It can be found about 3.7 degrees to the northwest of Alpha Microscopium. It was discovered by English astronomer John Herschel, on July 1834. A Type 2b supernova, SN 2011 EI, was observed in the galaxy in, of course, the year 2011. Slide master, slide number 19. NGC 6923 is another spiral galaxy. It has an apparent magnitude of 12.2 and lies approximately 36 million parsecs from the Earth. The galaxy is also discovered by John Herschel in the summer of 1834. And this is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide master, slide number 20. Now, there's a few more Astronomical League Observing Program objects in the constellation of Microscopium. I've just given you a sampling of some of those objects. The Astronomical League has, at last count, 70. Each month, then you can earn an observing certificate and a pen in about a year. Slide master, slide number 21, and that is Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week, Microscopium, the Microscope. I want to thank my friends Dave Hutchinson and Dennis Harwell for the research and words on deep sky objects that I use, borrow, and steal for every Skynet. I also at times use the website constellation-guide.com for information. Now next week, I'll take a look at that's two constellations in one. Pisces Astronus, the Southern Fish, and Grus. What the heck is a Grus? I guess you'll have to sign in next week to find out. And this is KF5JJ Chaz saying goodnight, 73. Back to our net control. Billy, it's yours, KF5PDS.
This time I'll return that to Tom, KE5ICX, so that is yours from KF5PDS.
All right, thank you, Billy. Next up is space launches for the week. We have several here. First one that I've got the info on is October 7th, Falcon 9 launch of Hera. The Hera European Space Agency mission to study the Deimos binary asteroid system that was impacted by the DART mission in September of 2022, which we talked about earlier. On October 10th will be a Falcon Heavy launch of Europa Clipper. We mentioned that one in this net as well. Launch Complex 39A from Kennedy Space Center. The Heavy will launch NASA's Europa Clipper to begin its journey to the Galilean moon of the same name. The moon, believed to have a saltwater ocean on its surface, is the fourth largest of Jupiter's 95 moons. It's also the sixth closest to the planet. Falcon Heavy rocket will be flown in a fully expendable configuration. Next up will be the November New Glenn NG-1 launch from Launch Complex 36. New Glenn rocket will launch the company's Big Blue Ring spacecraft, capable of hosting and deploying multiple payloads. Blue Origin will attempt to land the first stage booster on a sea-based landing platform, Jacqueline. To be determined is the Vulcan Centaur launch of Dream Chaser 1. This will be launched on its second demonstration flight from Sierra Space Dream Chaser cargo vehicle for the International Space Station. Dream Chaser is the lifting body resupply spacecraft that will launch on top of a rocket and land on a runway. It will be Dream Chaser's first flight into space. Then we have in spring of 2025, New Glenn launching Escapade. This will be from Launch Complex 36 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Base. The Blue Origin New Glenn rocket will launch a pair of identical spacecraft on NASA's Escape and Plasma Acceleration and Dynamics Explorers, or ESCAPADE mission. The two satellites, named Blue and Gold, will make a roughly 11-month journey to Mars, where they will perform about an 11-month science mission while orbiting the red planet. Blue and Gold were manufactured by Rocket Lab over 3.5 years and carry scientific experiments from the University of California in Berkeley. This launch of the New Glenn rocket will also feature a landing attempt on its landing barge in the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, I guess we can pause and take additional check-ins, perhaps, or I can just go on to visible satellite passages. What your choice?
Okay, I'm not sure what's wrong. This is N5BB, alternate net control. Tom disappeared. Are you finished, Tom?
No, Bill, I was waiting for net control, but I think Echolink is in a loop. I'll go ahead and do the next segment then. We have the ISS space station passes. So I can do a couple of those, and then maybe we can close it out after that. How's that?
Okay, just checking. Billy, are you still there?
Opening and closing, so I wasn't able to jump in. Plus, I didn't hear that Tom had finished. So, anyway, yeah, we're getting close to the end of time. So, Bill, if you wouldn't mind doing a final second round, and then get me a count for tonight's net, and then I'll close the net. So, this is back to you, Bill, N5BB from KFI PDF.
Okay, very good, Billy. It's going to take me a minute to count everybody on the spreadsheet. We have one more on the spreadsheet. Virginia, NV5F, checked in on the spreadsheet. Do we have any other check-ins to Skynet? Last call. If so, please come now with your call sign, name, and location. This is N5BB.
Kilo Juliet 5, Golf November Foxtrot. The name's Brian in Terrell. KJ5GNF.
Recognize KJ5GNF. We got you, Brian. The repeater blipped again. I don't know if that was somebody in the Echolink or something else. Are there any other check-ins to Skynet? So come now. Okay, something blipped the repeater, but I'll try one more time. Do we have any additional check-ins to Skynet? This is N5BB.
Normal state.
Okay, I don't know if that's Tony, because it sounded like what happened when he tried to... Well, no, it's not coming through on RF, so it's not Tony. Okay, we had 19 plus 14 on the spreadsheet. So that is 33 check-ins. Pretty good, Billy. I will turn it back over to you, KDF5PDS and 5BB, alternate net control for Skynet.
awesome. Yeah, that is really great. So I copy that. Tonight we had 33 hams participating on the air, so thank you to all who checked in this evening. We hope you'll join us here next week and every Saturday night at 9 p.m. to discuss astronomy, space, and space exploration. On this net, the sky is never the limit.
Completely operational,
We're always
and all my
looking for net
circuits
control
are functioning
stations for
perfectly.
this and all the other DARC nets. If you would like to try your hand at this, contact any of the net controls by sending an email to nets@w5fc.org. You can follow topics and discussion about this net and astronomy in general on Facebook and X, as well as our audio and video streams, video archives, and other useful internet resources by going to w5fc.org at the conclusion of this net. So until next Saturday night, this is KF5TDS, Billy, and I'll be closing the net at 22:30 local time and returning the repeater to normal amateur use. 7-3, everybody, and enjoy the evening discovering the universe. And remember, following this net, in about 5 minutes, they'll log in and start the Afterglow movie net, which is going to discuss Roger Corman's Last Woman on Earth from 1960. 7-3, everybody.
About CX Inside BB. Tom, do you want me to try to run Afterglow here on RF? I could be net control. It may be hard for you to do it remotely.
Yeah, hi, Bill. I asked Virginia if she wanted to do it. I was just about to check email to see if she'd replied. Give me a couple of seconds here and see. Hold on.
Okay, she checked in on the spreadsheet. Are you there, Virginia?
I am here, and I am ready to run Afterglow in 5F.
Well, that's great. Okay, Tom, I hope we can wait a few minutes so I can cook my popcorn inside BB. See you later.
All right, well, Virginia will have to give you that 5 minutes. Actually, it takes 4 minutes to do popcorn, so you better run quickly. Thank you, Virginia, for doing the net, and thank you, Miss Billy, for doing the net this evening. Boy, it's been interesting. There's so many changes over the last couple of weeks. We're kind of seeing all the bugs and gremlins, so I have to say, though, this All-Star Link thing has worked really well for me, but it does have a kind of a dropout on it as well for audio. So it drops out, so I go over to Echolink to listen to the rest of it, but then now Echolink's died. I can't get it to work either. It's been really interesting this evening. Oh well. KE5ICX.
Well, Tom, your audio into the repeater sounds great, and so that's working. It sounds fantastic. Got you on video, and according to your handy-dandy timer here, we have 3 minutes and 3 seconds before I start Afterglow. So, Bill, pop that popcorn in D5F.
I've got the radio transmitter on 2.4 gigahertz heating up my popcorn. Thank you, Inside BB.
It gives the term microwave popcorn a whole new meaning. D5F.
NT5TM testing.
We've got you, Tony, ND5S.
Just learned something interesting. The flattest state is not Kansas, it's Florida in 5dB.
I can believe that. I've been to Florida several times.
And I've been to both Florida and Kansas. Yeah, western Kansas is pretty flat, but eastern Kansas has some beautiful, big, rolling hills full of fossils. Yeah, and Florida is just... I'm actually afraid the sea's going to swallow it up. NT5TM.
My dad lived in the flat part of Kansas when I was a little kid, so I saw that a few times too.
Erin didn't tolerate my heresy about Kansas being flat and boring very well, so she's actually made me go on scenic drives in the Flint Hills. But she didn't have to twist my arm very hard, and I enjoyed them very much, and we would stop and collect fossils or stand on an overlook, and Kansas was prettier than I thought. NT5TM.
and directed by Roger Corman. It tells the story of 3 survivors of a mysterious apocalypse which appears to have wiped out all human life on Earth. The screenplay is by Robert Towne, who also acted in the film under the pseudonym Edward Wayne. The music was composed and conducted by Ronald Stein. The film was originally released as a double feature with The Little Shop of Horrors. That is presumably not the 1986 version of Little Shop of Horrors. I have not seen the 1960 version of that film. Okay, the plot. Harold Shim, a successful businessman from New York who is constantly in legal trouble. Hold on, I'm going to try to magnify this ridiculously small font. Okay. Constantly in legal trouble is spending a holiday in Puerto Rico with his attractive wife, Evelyn, whom he married between trials. They are joined by Martin Joyce, Harold's lawyer, who has come to discuss the latest indictment. Harold invites him along on a boat trip during which all 3 try out some newly bought scuba diving equipment. When they resurface, they are unable to breathe without using their scuba tanks. They climb back into their boat and find Manuel, the crewman, dead, apparently of asphyxiation. Upon rowing ashore, they enter the jungle with their air running out. They discover that the foliage gives off oxygen that they can breathe. When they go into town, they find nobody left alive and cannot contact anyone by radio. It dawns upon the 3 that they might be the only survivors in the area, maybe in the world.
Node 5551 8 connected to node 48902.
Node already in a colder climate to avoid problems with insects and food preservation and to increase their chances of meeting other survivors. Harold asserts ownership of Evelyn. Her name is written here as Eve, which that's an obvious thing. As the husband, Martin reminds him the rules have changed. Eve has never felt love from Harold and was only a possession. She finds freedom. Harold and Martin have a physical fight after Martin has slept with Eve. She tells her husband she was not raped. Harold gives Martin 2 hours to leave. Eve wants Martin to ask her to come with him, and he does. The 2 leave together, and Harold follows in a chase to the boat. Harold beats up and kills Martin. He holds out his hand to Eve, and the 2 go together. This plot synopsis almost sounds like the person wrote 3 decent paragraphs and got really tired of writing, and the 4th paragraph is short and choppy and basically pretty crummy. So it basically boils the movie down very quickly. I don't recall when I was watching this movie, them ever referring to her as Eve, but the name Evelyn is obviously a euphemism for Eve, the first woman on Earth, so of course Evelyn, aka Eve, the last woman on Earth. So that is a thankfully short synopsis of this plot. All right, whoever wants to talk about this movie or just listen to us talk about this movie and tell us whether or not you think you want to see it or any other comments you might have, please come now with your call sign, your name, your location. You don't necessarily have to give your location unless you want, and whether or not you saw Last Woman on Earth. Please come now.
This is Inside BB, November 5 Bravo Bravo, Bill and Irving. Yes, I saw it, but I didn't see that horrible archive.org version I saw the version on Tubi, which was, I think, from the DVD. Perfect, nice color, great audio, with a long introduction by Roger Corman himself in 5BB.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike. I did see the movie, Tony and Dallas.
Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray, Tom in Corpus Christi. Yes, I saw the movie. Now, next step is, can I stay awake?
This is Whiskey 5, Bacon Lettuce Tomato, W5BLT Bill in Garland. And yes, I saw the movie. KJ5, GNF, Brian and Terrell. And I have not seen the movie, but I'm here for the comments. KJ5, GNF. Kilo Golf 5, Bravo Zulu, Whiskey, J, near Weatherford. I saw this.
Okay, so far we have N5BB Bill. Yes, he saw a much nicer version of the movie than most of us saw. NT5T of Tony, yes, he saw it. Brenda, WB5OZL, yes, she saw it. W5BLT Bill, yes, he saw it. KJ5GNF, no, did not see it, but Brian will probably ask you what you think. KG5BGWJ, yes, he saw it, and we had a double with Brenda. Whoever that was, please come back with your call, your name, and whether or not you saw the movie. Okay, I know there was somebody else out there who was lamenting whether or not they could stay awake. I'll listen one more time. If you would like to get on the list, please come now and be by that.
This is Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray, Tom in Corpus. Yes, I did see the movie.
Oh, it was Tom. Well, I understand. I'm pretty whooped from today. I had a long day. So I hope you can make it to the end. I know you're very busy. So we'll try to make this short and sweet, but we've got a pretty long list here. Okay, well, let's get to it. N5BD Bill, what do you think about the plot of Last Woman on Earth?
Out of the room, and did you call me N5BB?
I did, NV5S.
Very good. This is N5BB. Well, this was a low-budget movie by Roger Corman. As I said when I checked in, I watched the version on Tubi, which was great quality, nice, strong color, and very, very clear image and audio. And there was a long introduction by Roger Corman himself. He recorded this a number of years ago, for the DVD. He explained some things about the production of the movie, Very low budget in Puerto Rico. That's where it was filmed. And he filmed 2 other films on the same trip to save money. He also said that the reason that Robert Town acted in the movie, Robert Town, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his last name right, Tao. Anyway, he is the screenplay. He wrote the screenplay. But when it was time to travel to Puerto Rico, he wasn't quite finished with the screenplay. So what they decided to do is he decided to go to Puerto Rico with the actors and production crew. He would finish writing the screenplay and be the third actor, the lawyer. So that's why he's in it. He also did a little bit of other acting. He wrote screenplays and acted in a few things. So regarding the plot, I thought it was okay, rather simple. I think I must have seen this movie sometime in the past because I remember the plot. And I have a quote from the plot. This is with Evelyn saying this. I have so little to say and nobody who will listen. I'll repeat that. I have so little to say and nobody who will listen, which I thought was interesting. I wrote it down. Other people have noticed. You can search and find that quote. I thought the basic plot idea was okay, although, of course, they hid from us any information about what caused this event. Because the protagonist and everybody else the 3 people we know, didn't have any idea. I mean, they couldn't find anybody on radio or in person, so they had absolutely no way of knowing. Of course, it was very scientifically difficult to imagine something that would have made all the oxygen go away for a few minutes and then come back again. Initially, it looked like it was the leafy, that they could get oxygen from those leafy plants, but of course, that wouldn't have kept them breathing. And obviously, there's oxygen everywhere, not very long afterward. So that's pretty thin scientifically, but hey, it's a 1960 science fiction movie. One thing that I thought was kind of a plot blooper was Evelyn was in her swimsuit out there on the boat.
902.
And then they took the little weird. I really thought the plot was going to be different at the end. I thought that the husband was going to get killed, and the other guy was going to go off with Evelyn, but that's not what happened. So, interesting. I guess that's it. Pretty basic B movie in 5BB.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Yeah, there's not much to this one. Tony, 95PM, tell us what you thought of the very complicated plot in NV5.
Remote already in this mode.
Well, thank you for being net control. I did have, I don't know, a bit of a relief early in the plot. I was afraid the boat's engine was going to start and create the biggest plot hole in the universe, because if there's not enough oxygen to breathe, of course the boat's engine can't run. But no, it's the rare case of Roger Corman must have been conscious and thinking, and he didn't fall into that hole. So the boat's engine didn't start. They had to row back, which certainly would have used up their oxygen cylinders much faster. But oh well. I did notice that they seemed to have electricity when they got back to the mainland. It's hard to believe that wouldn't have tripped off fairly quickly with no humans to supervise it, particularly in 1960 with far fewer automated controls. But oh well. You know, you just can't rebuild the world with only one reproductive pair. It doesn't matter which man lived. Who are her children going to marry? But you know, when you think about it, there were probably a lot of nuclear 1960. There were probably a lot of diesel submarines out there at sea, and their crews would have survived, and they were all male in 1960, so she would have been even more outnumbered. Ouch. Yep, yeah, I guess this movie taught me a clear lesson. If you survive an apocalypse with a crooked businessman who has a big, strong killer instinct, you better shoot him right away, because else he's going to do you in. I really appreciated the fact that this movie didn't overstay its welcome. It was very short. I'd like to praise it for that, because this is kind of a good Twilight Zone episode, and they didn't go on much longer than that, so that was good. The characters have an impossible problem. To quote Martin, it's all over but the shouting. That's almost certainly correct. You're never going to get enough people together in time to rebuild civilization. But hey, if you want to, have a long, extended, pointless fight and chase scene, because apparently people used to really like fistfight scenes a lot more than I do, okay, if that's how you want your civilization to end, you can end it that way. So I was glad it was short. I was glad there was kind of some insanity and despair, because I think that should mark such a horrible disaster, and I think she was even more outnumbered by men than she ever realized. NT5TM.
Okay, thank you, Tony. You make some very good points. I like the one about the submarines. I guess the submarines that happened to be submerged at that time were probably good unless but only if they emerged in places that had lots of leafy green vegetation. If they're into nuclear submarines, man, those guys, they can stay down there almost indefinitely. But yeah, there's a point about the submarines. And yes, it was more like a Twilight Zone kind of thing. That didn't really have any chance of leading to anything. Okay, next is Brenda, WB5AZO. What did you think of the plot of this movie?
This is WB5OZL on Echo Inc. The plot was pretty simple. I just felt that it was a contrived, very improbable thing of, well, let's just make all the oxygen go away for a few minutes and kill the entire population of the world except these three people, just so we can create this rather maudlin soap opera, the love triangle, and how are they going to survive, and the bickering and fighting, and I'm not a big fan of soap operas normally. Although, it was pretty well done. It was watchable. I didn't feel like I needed to get up and turn it off all the time. But I definitely won't watch it again. I'm done with it. WB5OZL, back to net.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. I like how you kept it brief. I believe you was thankfully brief. Soap opera, definitely. Okay, Bill, W5BLT, what did you think of the plot of this this film.
Okay, thank you, Virginia. Well, you know, I don't know that, we've kind of seen this plot, I suppose, before, you know, where you have some type of disaster, you got the girl that's the love interest of these guys. You know, they didn't really explain how people died here, at least to my satisfaction, and so yeah, it was kind of improbable. You know, they go down, they're scuba diving, I guess, and then they come back and the guy on the boat's dead and everybody's, you know, dead. Fish are alive though, but I don't know. There's other movies kind of like this, but not 3 people left. I thought it was going to be similar to The Last Man on Earth, which was the one with Vincent Price, and I really liked that one. And so I was kind of hoping this might be a little like that, but it wasn't. But, you know, you really could keep track of the characters very easily. Wasn't like there was a big cast, but I guess that's for the next round. Anyway, W5BLT. Back to you, Virginia.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. And yes, definitely couldn't lose track of the cast in this movie. I think the first scene was the only scene that had, you know, more than 3 people in it. Brian, I'm going to leave you for a little while from now, and after everybody's talked about it, we'll ask you if you might want to see this movie. So, KG5BZWJ, please give us your thoughts on The Last Woman on Earth.
Good evening. The time is 11 p.m. 4, 8, 9, 0, 2. Time out.
This is KG. Okay, that was weird. This is KG5BZW. As a sci-fi film, it didn't really make much sense. As a little soap opera or whatever, yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know. There's not much really to talk about. I mean, a lot of the stuff's already covered. How, I'm sorry, I've got a cat right here. It kind of bugged me just how little attention was given to, you know, the just food and oh yeah, we can have cans for months, blah 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 blah, or years. Yeah, no. Have you ever had a 10-year like sauerkraut? Have you ever had that for like 10 years? I have. You do not want to eat something that's been in a can 10 years old. Maybe unless it's, you know, that's in the Arctic, or I mean not the Arctic, and at one of the Antarctic stations or something where it's frozen, it might work. But there's a lot of interesting things that, I mean, even more sophisticated films try to cover and they just miss. So, you know, I'm more interested in that aspect, which this film provides literally nothing. Besides, oh yeah, the engine fails to work because of the lack of oxygen, which, you know, we all of these animals that are living in the ocean, how do they get their oxygen? Well, they get it from mixing, you know, surface level mixing with the atmosphere. Well, it's kind of strange that, not at the time of the dives or whatnot, but you kind of expect to be a little bit of a die-off. Of course, they also had, like, okay, we had the ants that survived, and then, well, no, the chicks probably survived because of eggs or whatever, and they never did even, like, well, okay, how are we going to incubate or feed these chicks or whatever? Anytime I've seen babies, they need, they need incubation of some of them, maybe that's not the right term. They need heat. It's just the constant temperature, warm temperature, so that if they survive until, they're a little bit older. I don't know. Let me reset. The film more serves as a reminder of attitudes about living and women and all kinds of stuff that just kind of annoyed me, that I'm kind of glad we've gotten a little bit past some of that stuff. Although, well, I ain't gonna go there. And besides, that's characterization too. So, I don't know, definitely not the worst film ever, but definitely is tolerable, but just kind of silly plot. I'll leave it to the next person, KG5BZW.
Okay, thanks, Jay. Yeah, lots of technical inconsistencies, and definitely not the worst thing we've ever seen. Tolerable at the very best. For us, yeah, at its very best, I guess it would be tolerable. Tom, 85ICX, all the way from Corpus Christi. I hope you're still awake. Let us know what you think of the plot of this.
This is KG5BGW. I'm just watching the YouTube feed, and he's not in his chair, so he may have to, come back, I guess.
Yeah, I was just noticing that too. I was checking the feed, and Tom is not at his desk, so I'm guessing he's, I don't know, maybe he crawled into a corner and gone unconscious. Okay, well, I'll watch for him, but he may be done for the day. Okay, so Brian, KJ5GNF, after all of these wonderful... Oh, there he is. He's coming back. No worries, Tom. So Brian, after all these wonderful plot synopses, actually, hold on. Let me see. Tom, do you want to tell us? Sorry, Brian, I don't mean to make you nuts there. Tom, do you want to tell us what you think of this in B5F?
Oh, thank you. Let me tell you what I think of this movie. This movie was terrible. I mean, this is a Roger Corman film, and we have great hits like Sharknado that actually are more entertaining than this film. These three people, I wouldn't want to be stuck in an elevator with them, much less on the whole entire, universe. They were just really awful people, all of them. And I don't know, if you're going to do something like this, you want them to be interesting. We want them to do something other than the standard tropes. I'm going to run away with your wife stuff. Jeez, come on, be imaginative. And judging from what you told us there, they couldn't figure out what the heck they were going to do with the story, so they just decided to go down there and have a vacation, which is essentially how the movie looked. They went on vacation. So I can't say much about it. I think I did fall asleep in the last part of the film, about the last 5 or 10 minutes when the guy died. And that's probably just as well because I didn't care for him anyway. So, no, they all could have died. But it did look a lot like Last Man on Earth, the ending there. It was like a bookend. You know, we end up in the church, and that's what happened with Vincent Price, The Last Man on Earth. So it kind of had that similar ending, although it was just the 3 of them rather than the whole gang of zombies going after him. So they stole from that. I don't know what else to add. It's just one of those films. KE5ICX.
Okay, Tom, thank you. And I was having an audio malfunction here, so you were talking, and I didn't realize I was the only one not hearing you, so I hope I didn't talk over you at any point. If I did, I am sorry. And then I realized I was asking Brian, which I will ask in a minute, what he thinks of the plot of this. I don't have a whole lot to add. It's so typical of the time for the whole thing to end in a church, for her name to be, for Eve to be like a short version of her name, guys fighting over women in this way. This is very Roger Corman, and the thing that got me in this is, number one, I don't even really think of it as sci-fi. There's nothing science fiction-y. There's no science in it. There's no, high-tech anything. Nothing space. No aliens. It's just some kind of weird natural disaster kind of a thing. The other thing about it that I think is funny is when they were listening to the radio, they were like, why do they keep playing the same song over and over? It seems like if a radio station were left unattended back then, whatever record they were playing would have just ended, and it would have just been the sound of the record skipping. So I don't know if that part kind of, was dumb to me, but I won't say a whole lot more because there's not a whole lot to say about this. Okay, Brian, KJ5GNF, what do you think? Would you want to see this movie in D5?
Oh, wow. Well, I have to say, as soon as you started the synopsis, I realized I needed to hang on because I've always enjoyed that end-of-the-world theme in movies and media and books. I was reminded, you mentioned Twilight Zone earlier. I was reminded of that episode where this introvert, just hates the world and all of the pressures, and then something happens, and he's the last person on Earth, and he goes to the Library of Congress, and he's like, yes, and then he breaks his glasses, and he's like, no. Anyway, I love all that kind of stuff. But as soon as Tony mentioned, the submarine, I was reminded of a book that I had read as a teen that was really good. It's called On the Beach by Neville Shute. I won't spoil it for you, but let's just say it takes many of the elements from the movie and turns it into a very enjoyable, compelling read. So anyway, I love the theme. Thank you very much for all of the comments, and I'll be listening for more. KJ5GNF.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Those are really good comments. And On the Beach, I wrote that down. This movie to me didn't seem really much like science fiction. Like I said, it was just kind of Twilight Zone-y, like Brenda, I think, mentioned. And it didn't really, to me, ring as science fiction. And the characters were pretty, very stereotypy. But I'm going to leave it up to you guys to tell me what you guys think of the characters, and if I have anything to add to all your brilliant comments, I might say something, but I have a feeling you guys are going to cover it. In 5TV, what do you think about acting and characterization in The Last Woman on Earth?
No.
Very good, Virginia. This is in 5TV.
9, 0,
First, a quick comment.
Time out.
That movie was released in December of 1959. This Roger Corman movie that we just saw was released in August of 1960, 9 months later. So, kind of interesting. On the Beach is much more involved, since it involves nuclear submarines and all that kind of stuff. And yes, there were nuclear submarines in 1959. Not very many, but there were some. And again, this movie had a very thin plot. But it was slightly entertaining, let's put it that way. As far as the characterization, we only got 3 people to characterize. Wow. We have Harold Gurn, I guess, his wife Evelyn. Sometimes I think he has a nickname for her, something like Evie or something. I don't know if it's Eve, but it's some kind of shortened form of Evelyn. He sometimes has a shortened form of Evelyn that he uses her as a pet name. And then we have Martin Joycel, who is the attorney that was going to run off with Evelyn. And I don't know. I thought that Harold, the businessman that was being sued, or worse, being indicted or whatever, he seemed to be a pretty cutthroat character that had very little. His morals were pretty thin, let's put it that way. And I want to point out something. Well, I'll point out this later. The other male, Martin, seemed to try. At first, he seemed to have more morals. Down by the end of the movie, I wasn't so sure. I think he really wanted to kill Harold and run off with Evelyn.
Remote already in this mode.
Almost not spiritual, but supposed to tell you that something about what was going to happen or something. With her waiting there in the church, going up to the front of it, like she's going to be married to the other guy or something. So kind of symbolic. There's some other symbolism that Roger Corman pointed out in the long prelude to this that he discussed on the DVD version, which is the Tubi version. And Roger Corman said they purposely put in, you notice at the start of the movie, you have the roosters fighting to the death, the 2 male roosters fighting to the death, and at the end of the movie, you have the 2 male humans fighting to the death. So, he says they threw in a little bit of this, like it was kind of a standard for creatures, for the males to try to fight to the death. He says they purposely threw that into the plot, that first scene of the rooster fight being kind of repeated by the humans at the end. Let's see. Not a lot of else to say. We don't learn very much about these characters. We learn a little bit about the businessman, the lawyer. We really don't hear much about him personally. When Evelyn is talking to them, he doesn't reveal much. Evelyn doesn't really reveal much either. I mean, who are these people? What life did they have before? You know, we learn a little bit about that Evelyn and Martin kind of can share some knowledge about fine art. They were talking about some things that were, I can't remember, either books or plays or something. So a little bit was revealed, but not much else. The chase scene, which is kind of stupid, filled up so much of this short movie that they didn't get a chance. They just didn't expand on the characters. They should have. They should have stopped that chase scene and spent a lot of time talking about characters, what might happen. Let them talk about what could be happening, what might happen in the future, what their aspirations were. At the end, it was kind of bad because Martin kind of seemed like he had no aspirations. He thought there shouldn't be any more children. Anyway, even though they didn't really know if there were other humans living in the Earth, there could have been other humans in other places. Okay, that's all I got about characterization in 5BB.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Yeah, that chase scene at the end, I forgot to mention in my turn that it had the wonderful trope of plowing a car into a tree just when you're about to get where you need to be or think you've got it made. You know, crash your car into a tree for no good reason. So, you know, this movie had that at least. Okay, next, ND5TM Tony, acting and characterization.
Well, thank you again for being net control, and I don't have much to add about acting and characterization. I have been reading online, and apparently the guy who played the lawyer was quite an accomplished screenwriter. And I'm glad he had much better success there than he did as an actor, because I did not find any of the characters to be interesting. In fact, I kind of wanted to dial up the craziness more. As was pointed out, by Viktor Frankl maybe, an abnormal response to an abnormal situation is normal behavior, and coming up from a fairly unremarkable scuba dive to find that the world has ended. You should all just go mad in different interesting ways. I mean, really, what does it take to drive someone insane? If that doesn't work, then your brain is probably broken, because you should just completely lose it. Violence, the long-range chase scene. I wish the characters had been a little crazier. I guess that's all I had to say, because the end of the world is pretty awful. NT5TM.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Let's see what Brenda thinks. Brenda, did you think these characters were crazy enough, and what else do you have to say about them in D5F?
this is WB5OZL. I didn't like the characters, any of them at all. They're not people who would ever be part of my inner circle. I thought they were superficial or just stupid and materialistic and maybe not even particularly moral. But the poor slumps were, thrown into this situation. I would have been a little more interested in figuring out what I would need to do to survive. I'd go to the hospital and get supplies and get some study up on how to do an emergency appendectomy or deliver a baby or something. And they didn't talk about the loss of power that is coming. If there's nobody at the electric plant to run it, they're going to be without electricity. So I think that they would need to figure that out, how they can keep the power on and start growing food, because canned vegetables are not particularly good even first time, much less in a few years. And I think they needed to start thinking about looking for other people. There has to be some more people alive. There has to be some other people that were scuba diving or, for just some reason or another. What if people were in surgery, have oxygen at the time? The whole idea of the oxygen just going away and then coming back is so implausible. It's so stupid. They didn't even try to explain it. I can't imagine any kind of a half-baked idea they could come up with to explain that. But I know